Hey there, everybody. Thanks for joining me for another one-man review. Today we're looking at Aqualantic by Giorgio Carpinteri. This is another one of the books that I picked up in Fantagraphics Fantabucks sale, where I pre-ordered everything I wanted from Fantagraphics for the rest of the year and then cashed out all my gift certificates for things that I've been looking forward to, or things like this that just caught my eye. What really caught my eye on this is the art. It just looked like a really beautiful book, and it is. It's a very strange story. I'm not even sure I can describe this story, but there's an underwater city, Aqualantic, and there's this actor within that city that's playing somebody on the surface. And that character on the surface seems to have some kind of actual psychic connection with the actor, and then that leads to the city maybe being invaded and then defending itself, but it's mostly focused on this actor character who's in some kind of conversation with this turtle, I think. Strange, surreal story, but it's a fun story. I just don't know that it makes total sense to me. What I really enjoy about it is the art, though. The art feels like early, like modernist, futurist, abstract art to me. Put into some kind of representational style, so it's reminding me of like Robert and Sonia Delaunay or Joseph Stella with images like this, where people are drawing these like abstract, colorful representations of what the future is going to be. It's Fantagraphics, so of course like the colored production's really nice. It's on beautiful paper, really cool painted style all the way throughout. You can tell it's done with physical mediums, like some of the gradients here. I really like seeing that. There's also a couple points in the book where the artist switches over to a black and white style with one spot color, and those are really effective. Like, obviously this artist is an amazing designer, amazing composer. There's two things in here that are drawn by other artists. So Lorenzo Mattotti did this piece and Igor did this piece. I like that because they're in a museum and they're looking through these books, and this one I believe is by the artist of this book, but they're like looking at paintings. You can see the Mattotti again there. So I thought that was a cool conceit to have some other artists contribute images to your museum. That's like a fun little collaborative thing. But this gives you a look at how kind of creative this artist is, how cool their images are, like the interesting visual style that I'm not, it's not like I've never seen painted comics before, but this just seems like its own unique thing. I think what this really comes down to for me, the line that landed the most in the book is, we could have controlled the world, but instead we decided to control ourselves. And that's the turtle talking about, like turtles could have taken over society, but they didn't. And I think that's what the book boils down to for me, is this interesting idea that, the choice to be like dominating is more of involved in any kind of larger dominating culture, like we are. Like, it's a personal choice, like each individual has to make that, and then there's kind of larger systems that get put in place based on what the individuals are assuming. But that sense of like personal responsibility, rather than the society at large holding everyone responsible or holding itself responsible. I think as soon as that happens, you're getting into controlling the world. And, if we want this utopian Aqualantic society that we're all trying to get through political change and stuff, it really boils down to the decision to control ourselves. It's kind of like, Eastern versus Western philosophy in that way almost. I see Western philosophy is an outward attempt, and Eastern philosophy, Zen Buddhism and things like that, as an inward attempt to control self and control desire, and not necessarily blame it on consumerist society, but on your own consumerist urge. So to me, this panel right here is the crux of the book, about like the world above versus the world below, the outside versus the inside. But that's just my loose interpretation of an otherwise pretty loosey-goosey story. But really, this is something that just for the art alone, I'll pull it off of the shelf and flip through and draw inspiration. So highly recommend it for that. It's a really beautiful book. If you still have money and you haven't after you've got this one, make sure you go out and get yourself a copy of The Strange Death of Alex Raymond from myself and Dave Sim, with gorgeous production by Sean from Living the Line. And keep an eye out for the other books that Sean has forthcoming: Yuichi Yokoyama's Plaza, The Exile by Eric Creek, and Centralia by Neil Van de Peet. Thanks for following along. Take it away, Jack.
You want to see all these books? Smash that subscribe button and the like button and the bell, and then you get them.